The first thing people noticed about me in that courtroom was how quiet I was. I sat straight, hands folded, eyes calm. No tears. No shaking. No righteous anger on display. They mistook that for weakness. I could feel it in the way my family leaned toward each other, whispering. In the way my ex crossed his arms like a man who'd already won. In the way the opposing lawyer barely glanced at me, as if I were an afterthought. Someone actually snorted when I stood to confirm my name. I was 36 years old, a senior operations consultant based in Portland, Oregon. I'd spent most of my career fixing broken systems inside companies. Inefficient supply chains, mismanaged finances, leadership teams that didn't talk to each other. I was good at it. Quietly good. But none of that mattered here. What mattered, apparently, was that I didn't look like money. I didn't dress loudly. I didn't speak unless asked. I didn't perform confidence for the room. So they laughed. The case itself was ugly in a very specific way. Not dramatic like movies. No shouting matches or surprise witnesses. Just cold paperwork and colder intentions. After 11 years of marriage, my ex-husband, Aaron, had filed a claim asserting that I had hidden assets during our divorce proceedings. Assets he believed were jointly owned. My family supported him. Publicly. In writing. Under oath. My mother testified that I had always been secretive with money. My brother said I had manipulated numbers for personal gain. My father sat silently but nodded when asked if he believed I'd deceived my husband. 11 years. And this was how they spoke about me. Aaron and I met in our mid-20s. We were together for 13 years total, married for 11. In the beginning, we were a team in the way young couples imagine themselves to be. Shared meals. Shared dreams. Shared bank account. But somewhere along the way, sharing turned into taking. I worked longer hours. Took on riskier projects. Learned to navigate high-level contracts and negotiations. Aaron stayed comfortable. He told people he supported me. What he meant was that he benefited from me. The emotional distance didn't arrive all at once. It crept in through small things. Missed dinners. Conversations that ended with him scrolling his phone. A habit of correcting me in front of others. Jokes about how I was married to spreadsheets. By the time I realized I was lonely inside my own marriage, it felt too late to fix. The betrayal, when it came, wasn't subtle. I found the messages accidentally. Not because I was snooping. Because his phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while he was in the shower. I glanced down, expecting a delivery notification. It was a woman's name I didn't recognize. And the message said, "I miss last night already." When I confronted him, he didn't panic. He didn't apologize. He didn't even deny it. He just looked tired. "I never loved you the way you wanted," he said calmly, like he was explaining a scheduling conflict. "You were convenient. You made life easy." That sentence did more damage than the affair itself. When I asked how long it had been going on, he shrugged. When things stopped feeling like a partnership and started feeling like a performance. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just nodded, because somewhere deep inside, I'd already known. The divorce was efficient. Almost friendly. Or so I thought. I didn't fight for more. I didn't demand explanations. I wanted out with my dignity intact. We split what was obvious. The house. The cars. The joint accounts. What I didn't do was explain myself. And that was my mistake, or so they thought. Because what Aaron didn't understand was that long before our marriage started cracking, I had learned a hard lesson from watching my parents. My father had lost control of his own business after trusting the wrong people. My mother had never recovered from the humiliation of having to ask for help she once provided. Money had power. And power changed how people treated you. So I built my life carefully. I formed a consulting firm early in my career, registered solely in my name. I reinvested aggressively. I kept my structure lean. I worked with a financial advisor who believed in silence more than flash. Aaron knew I consulted. He didn't know the scope. He never asked. After the divorce, when he realized I wasn't spiraling, when I didn't beg, didn't call, didn't ask to reconcile, that's when his curiosity turned into suspicion. That suspicion became accusation. And those accusations found eager supporters. My family had never forgiven me for leaving Aaron. They liked him. He was charming, social, easy. He showed up to holidays with wine and stories. He laughed at my mother's jokes. I showed up tired. So when he claimed I'd cheated him financially, they believed him. Or maybe they wanted to. The courtroom felt smaller every time they spoke against me. At one point, my brother leaned back and said, "She always thought she was smarter than everyone else." The judge raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Then came the moment they'd been waiting for. Aaron's lawyer stood, straightened his tie, and said, "Your Honor, we request full disclosure of all financial holdings associated with Ms. Carter, including shell entities and trusts she may have used to obscure marital assets." He glanced at me like he expected flinching. I didn't move. My lawyer, an older woman with sharp eyes and very little patience for theatrics, stood slowly. "Your Honor," she said, "we have already provided complete disclosure. But if the court would like clarification, we are prepared." The judge nodded. "Proceed." That's when the laughter stopped. The clerk began reading. Not dramatically. Not loudly. Just clearly. Company registrations. Equity stakes. Investment accounts. All in my name. Not hidden. Not illegal. Just mine. The courtroom shifted. Physically. I could feel it. My mother's smile faded first. My brother leaned forward. Aaron's lawyer stopped taking notes. The judge adjusted his glasses. "Ms. Carter," he said, looking directly at me for the first time, "can you confirm sole ownership of these assets?" "Yes," I said. One word. "Steady." Aaron turned to me, finally. His face had gone pale. The judge continued. "These assets predate the marriage or were acquired independently, correct?" "Yes." "And there was no commingling of funds?" "No." The judge closed the file. "Then the court finds no basis for this claim." Silence. Not the uncomfortable kind. The heavy kind. Aaron's confidence collapsed in real time. My brother looked like someone had pulled the floor out from under him. My mother stared at her hands. No one laughed. The judge wasn't finished. "I would caution the plaintiff," he said, voice even, "against pursuing litigation rooted in assumption rather than fact. This court does not exist to punish restraint." I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I didn't even look relieved. Because the real turning point had already happened long before the verdict. It happened the night I stopped explaining myself. After the affair. After the divorce. After the accusations. I sat alone in my apartment, surrounded by boxes I hadn't unpacked. I felt empty. Not broken, emptied. Like someone had scooped out the version of me that needed approval. That was the night I realized begging for understanding had never protected me. Silence had. Not passive silence. Intentional silence. The kind that lets truth arrive on its own schedule. The case ended that day. But the consequences lingered. My family tried to apologize. Not directly. In fragments. Invitations. Awkward messages. We didn't know. They still don't. Aaron sent one message. Just one. I didn't realize. I never replied. Not out of cruelty. Out of closure. Because I finally understood something I wish I'd learned earlier. You don't owe access to people who only value you when they think you're empty. Power doesn't announce itself. It waits. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is sit quietly while people reveal exactly who they are, then let the truth speak when it matters most. If you're listening to this and you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever been laughed at for staying calm, if you've ever been accused because you didn't explain yourself, remember this. Silence is not weakness. It's restraint. And restraint, when paired with integrity, has a way of changing rooms you never thought you'd control.